These are not the actions of Superman, or any hero for that matter. These aren't the actions of a loving husband. At this point, Superman had been rendered a gamma male. Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and today you're going to learn the undeniable truth that Brian Michael Bendis killed DC Comics Superman and is coming for the rest of the DC Universe. I gave Bendis a fair shake when his Man of Steel miniseries launched, and have been keeping on top of everything DC Comics Bendis related since, including Superman, DC Corporate Restructure, Jinx World, and Wonder Comics. Before I get started, I would like to invite you all to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thinking Critical is your go-to channel for quality reviews, open discussion, and in-depth analysis. Now let's break it all down. If you are new to Bendis' Superman and saw this masterclass in how to ruin a great character profile with copious amounts of word vomit in Superman number 9, you might get an idea that something is wrong with the series. What competent editor would let a creator actively ruin a full page of their own comic book? The answer is quite simple. Bendis is so powerful, he has no editor, and unfortunately, this is Watchmen quality work compared to what he's been doing to Soup since taking over. Perhaps no character in DC Comics was rejuvenated as much as Superman when they dropped the New 52 and launched Rebirth. Gone were the jean and armor-clad Man of Steel, who orphaned as a young man, turned into a vigilante, and never fell in love with Lois. Geoff Johns DC Universe Rebirth restored the classic uniform, minus the red tights, his all-American upbringing with Ma and Pa Kent that created the superpowered Boy Scout, and his marriage to Lois Lane, complete with a 10-year-old son named John. Peter Tomasi was lead creator on Superman, and Dan Jurgens headed up Action Comics. And fans of the Man of Tomorrow experienced a renaissance the likes they never could have expected. But all good things must come to an end, and in summer 2018, these ominous warnings started appearing in DC Comics, and it was soon announced Bendis would not only be taking over Superman, but Action Comics starting with issue 1001 as well. Another casualty was the cancellation of Super Sons, a love series starring Superboy John Kent and Robin Damian Wayne in a terrific all-ages title. This, and Dark Knight's Metal, signaled the end of DC Rebirth. Longtime Bendis readers warned that this was going to be very bad for the Man of Steel, and we all know DC Comics publisher Dan Didio is a longtime hater of Superman and his happy family. Little did Superman fans know just how bad it could get. Bendis launched his Superman with the Man of Steel miniseries, and it started out well enough, but by issue 5, fans started to get a taste of what was in store. I'm not going to go into details of his stories, but Superman readers know that Bendis 1. Doesn't finish his stories, 2. Has a propensity to flood his pages with unnecessary dialogue, and 3. Killed Superman and his family in very short order. Bendis completed this in 4 parts, starting with taking Clark Kent's son, John, away from him. In issue 5 of Man of Steel, Superman's father, Jor-El, arrives and demands John accompany him on a tour of the universe. Clark objects, but Lois agrees as long as she can come too, because he can't just go with a complete stranger. At this point in time, Clark and Lois know that Jor-El is evil and that he wants to turn John into a violent version of Superman with no attachments to humanity. Yet Lois just agrees to it, and nobody even allows Superman, his father, to be a part of the decision. And even worse, Superman never even considers using his powers to save his son from his psychotic father. This is all so out of place, everyone started to realize things were going in a bad direction. While it's hinted that Lois's motivations for accompanying John on his trip with Psycho Grandpa are somewhat altruistic, Man of Steel issue 6 reveals her true motivations. Lois sees this as a perfect opportunity to write a book about her adventures as a mother journeying through the stars. The biggest fight Superman, the man who has sacrificed his own life for strangers, puts up to save his son is to tell his father it's not fairies taking John. And just like that, his wife and son are torn from him with hardly an objection from the titular hero. These are not the actions of Superman, or any hero for that matter. These aren't the actions of a loving husband. These are definitely not the actions of a competent father. At this point, Superman had been rendered a gamma male. You might think that Superman was made useless here, but Bendis wasn't finished destroying the heart and soul of the DC Universe. Ever since Superman Rebirth, Clark's status as an admirable family man was front and center. That was all put to rest with Action Comics 1003, as Clark learns that Lois hasn't been in outer space with their son John, but living and hiding in Metropolis for some time. She's also been seen having late-night rendezvous with supreme villain Lex Luthor. Eventually, she explains that she got lost in being a wife and mother and needed to get back to her old self, so she left their son with his psychotic grandfather in outer space. So with this issue, Lois and Clark's marriage, the foundation, the bedrock of Superman Rebirth, was completely and utterly destroyed. Not only that, Lois Lane is a complete shit mother who deserves to be in prison for abandoning her child with a complete psychopath. Worst of all, this essentially makes Superman Clark Kent the worst husband and father in the history of the universe, as he takes it all in stride like the good super cuck he's become. The complete destruction of Superman and everything admirable wasn't yet complete. Bendis needed one more issue to deliver the coup de grace. The long-awaited return of John Kent occurred in Superman number 7, and there was something a bit different about him. He was no longer the plucky 10-year-old. Bendis aged up Superman's son to 17 years. By many reader estimations, including this one, the very best element of Rebirth was seeing Clark as a father to John and passing on the wonderful values he learned from his father, Jonathan Kent. Bendis finally killed Superman and his family for good. Readers will no longer witness the beautiful family that made Superman Rebirth so amazing. His idyllic marriage to Lois is forever shattered. You know, with today's divorce rates, who needs to see strong marriages being represented anyway? Of course, Clark Kent was one of the last fathers being represented in popular culture as competent, loving, and admired by his family. I guess that all needed to be sacrificed on the altar of Brian Michael Bendis. And worst of all, the very worst of all, readers will never get to witness Clark raising his son through childhood and adolescence into being a man, imparting the wonderful value and knowledge his father, Jonathan Kent, gave to him, which I personally find to be unforgivable. And this systematic destruction of the character has left fans exiting the series at lightning pace. Man of Steel number 1 sold 87,000 issues, and by issue 6 was down to 65,000, which in this market is pretty good. But Superman and Action Comics haven't had near this staying power. Superman issue 1 sold a robust 137,000 copies, but on issue 6 it's down to 51,000. Think about this. The previous series by Tomasi sold 43,000 on issue 45. Action Comics 1001 sold 82,000 and was down to 45,000 by issue 1007. Jurgen's run sold 42,000 at issue 996, over 40 issues into his run. Readers are exiting Bendis' sinking Superman ship faster than anyone could have imagined, and DC Comics is paying an absolute premium for Bendis to burn it all down. After all this, if you believe Bendis should be fired, please place hashtag #FireBendis in the comments. If you're still not convinced, put hashtag BendisLives in the comments as well. I'm honestly interested in how persuasive my argument is, but there is more. Along with that fat guaranteed paycheck, Bendis is also one of the very few writers who has a creator-owned line being published at DC Comics, Jinx World. I won't spend a ton of time here, but there is a good point to it. Jinx World currently releases 4 books written by Bendis. Pearl and Cover both sell just under 10,000 issues to retailers on issues 6 and 5 respectively. Scarlet sold 9,600 on issue 5, and United States vs. Murder Inc. sold 6,700 copies on issue 5. These numbers are downright embarrassing for DC Comics' huge free agent signing. But it's worse. How, you ask? Bendis has an ironclad contract with DC, and they have to publish his creator-owned series. DC Comics publisher Dan Didio announced they are scaling back the amount of series they produce and distribute in response to multiple years of market contraction. So these are 4 titles that sell like dog shit and generate zero interest from DC readers, but can't get axed. That means 4 titles on the fringe of cancellation must be cut to make room for Bendis' vanity projects that are actually money pits. Bendis' destruction of the greater DC universe has just begun. He's also been allowed to restart Wonder Comics, a line aimed at younger readers that should be cultivating a new generation of DC comic readers. Bendis is well known for writing teen characters as flawless geniuses who might as well have halos hovering above their heads and speak snark rather than English. Young readers know this is bullshit and never respond to any of his teen characters. How Didio has gotten away with all these terrible decisions is baffling, but I digress. One of the first tastes we got of his new Wonder Comics line was a preview of the Wonder Twins series nobody, not even Wonder Twins fans, wanted. In it, one of the twins explains that on their planet, when a thunderstorm occurs, the inhabitants are driven with thunderlust, and the entire planet engages in sexual activity. Who in the hell wants their teenager to read about a goddamn space orgy? This is beyond inappropriate for the age demographic this series is aimed at, and if you read all the words, it only got worse. Themes of gender fluidity and bestiality are explored because it's a kid's book. Bendis shouldn't be allowed within 1,200 yards of a school, let alone write an actual book that's aimed for children. Sales of Wonder Twins issue 1 aren't available yet, but I'm certain they will be awful. The debut of Young Justice was a bit more promising at $74,000, but it's propped up by a known title with the return of a couple of loved characters in a very well thought of animated series. DC Riri Williams, Naomi, sold only 25,000 copies on issue 1 despite being the first appearance of the character. This is actually on par with a couple of his Jinx World titles, so I expect it to sink like a rock almost immediately, and if Action Comics is any indication, Young Justice is well on the road to irrelevance already. So I know you're thinking, Wes, you said Bendis was going to destroy the entire DC Universe. So far he's only killed Superman, his creator-owned label, and DC Comics' chance for future readers. I'm not quite finished yet. Rumblings of a big event led by Bendis have been going on for a while, but we have details now. Event Leviathan number 1 is being solicited in June, and it promises major implications for the DC Universe as a whole. How many characters can he touch with one major event? How about all of them? It's described as a mystery thriller that stretches across the DC Universe and touches every character from Batman to Superman to The Question to Talia al Ghul. So how much damage can Bendis do with one event? Judging by Superman and his work at Marvel, all previous continuity will be thrown out. He will treat none of the characters with respect. He likely won't even finish the story, and the long-term damage will probably only be able to be fixed with another Rebirth-style universe reboot. I rest my case. The Bendis hiring is the biggest DC Comics blunder since the New 52 initiative, and he is the most formidable villain Superman and the DC Universe have ever faced. The destruction he will be allowed to inflict with his Leviathan event is immeasurable, and even Geoff Johns himself might not be creative enough to clean up his mess. If you didn't comment with hashtag FireBendis or hashtag BendisLives, please do now and let your voice be heard. If you're still here, thank you very much, and I invite you to follow me on Twitter. My handle is @Wes_from_TC. I talk comics and movies every day and post comic book recommendations for books I don't review on the channel weekly. If you follow me, shout me out in a tweet and let me know so I can follow you back. I love talking comics and pop culture and want to interact with you there as well. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter @Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.